Hello and welcome to another edition of Cop Talk. I'm Bob Cohn, Editor-in-Chief Emeritus of the St. Louis Jewish Light, and with me is Larry Levin, the publisher and CEO of the Light. Cop Talk is our twice-monthly program of two Jews giving views on the news. And Larry, we certainly have no shortage of dramatic, even grim news to discuss this week.
That's for sure.
Let's start with the horrific attacks on the U.S. embassies in Egypt and Libya, the latter of which resulted in the murder of our ambassadors to Libya, very courageous and much admired Chris Stevens, and three of his embassy colleagues. Violence is now spread to the capital cities of Yemen, Afghanistan, and the Gaza Strip. What do you think, at this preliminary stage, is the most important lesson or lessons we as Americans have learned so far as these events continue to unfold?
I think the single most important lesson is that we should, in times of crisis, speak with a unified voice in support of American lives here and abroad. We saw some attempts to act divisively on the heels of this as a result of the political campaign that's underway for November. It was wrong, and I think those who offered up political takes on it so early on were disabused of that being an appropriate course of action.
Now, even before the violence of last week, there was some contretemps again between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Barack Obama. You commented on them editorial a little bit in this week's Jewish Light. What do you think's going on here? Is there just a personal animus between these two leaders, or is it mostly Netanyahu's fault, or is it just the nature of the beast, or all of the above?
I mean, you would tell me that we've certainly seen plenty of instances in recent history of national leaders who may not like or befriend each other, but certainly know how to behave with respect to each other and do not allow those personal differences to interfere with their professional behavior on behalf of their constituents. And I think both Obama and Bibi are capable of doing so. And we found that, of course, as expected, the so-called issue about there not being a meeting between them while Bibi was in the U.S. turned out to be a tempest in a teapot, and not something that was a big deal for either of them, and they did speak on the phone. I think this week Bibi kind of lost his mind a little bit. I think he's had his own constituents coming at him from all over the political spectrum. People have been saying, attack Iran. People have been saying, don't attack Iran. He has former defense officials of Israel saying you'd be crazy to do it without the United States. He has the United States saying, wait a while, we got the guns to back you up later. Whereas Israel, of course, is thinking if it's on its own, it has to do something sooner. So I think when Bibi spoke out this week and said to the U.S., establish a red line for Iran's behavior, it was probably out of exasperation, but as anybody associated with Diplomacy 101 knows, you don't offer your enemy in public a line in the sand.
Exactly, and I also agree that he was seeking to exercise his right to life, liberty, and someone to blame.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it with the Arab nations for so many years. We've seen that's how, for instance, the Saudis have managed control for a great period of time is by blaming the West.
Yes.
We've seen it in other Arab countries, and I think Bibi's conduct just on this particular day. I don't want to stretch this or expand it into more. But I think 2 days ago, I think it was a little bit of the same. It was let's blame somebody else for the problem. My own service. So
yeah. Exactly. And we, as we speak, since our last COP talk, at least 5,000 more Syrians have been killed by the regime of Bashar Assad. Ann Curry, who I think is one of the few really serious journalists on NBC television, went to Syria, reported that 200,000 people have crossed into Jordan and Turkey, and those countries have been overwhelmed by refugees. Do you think there will reach some kind of a tipping point where the West will be forced to take some kind of an action?
I'm Bob, this is one I'll have to defer to you. I have no idea. The United States is war-weary at this point. There's a political season going on where a declaration of war is hardly the most likely scenario, especially when the potential of some sort of equitable retaliation on the Libya front, is being asked for, and especially where Israel is concerned about Iran, to think of, a Syria action by the U.S. seems highly unlikely. I don't know who would do it without us. And there looms the specter of Russia. What is Russia going to do in Syria to try and keep its tentacles pushed into the country? I think it's exceptionally sad for the Syrian people. There's no good coming of it. If Assad is pushed out, at least some grain of good will have come of it. So
I agree on all counts, and I want to thank you and our producer Mike Sherwin, our managing editor, and wish our viewers and readers a most happy and healthy and fulfilling New Year.
Same to you. Same to you. Take care.